So today I'm going to be doing a tutorial on how to use the AWS DeepRacer virtual platform, specifically how to create and train a new machine learning model. So here's the home page of the platform. There's quite a few things to look at, but right now we're going to focus on the reinforcement learning area. So this is where you will create models and vehicles to train your models. And basically do everything that you need to do to get started with DeepRacer. AWS has some resources to help you get started as well, such as learning the basics of reinforcement learning, and then also a little tutorial to create a model in Race. So if you want to look at your vehicles, you can go to your garage, and that will have all the different vehicles that you've created in order to train your model. Generally, the difference between models is the sensors and the action space. So this model has a higher top speed and has a continuous action space than this one. This model here has a discrete action space, meaning it only has a select number of angles and speeds it can go at. And all this definitely has to be taken into account when you create your first model. When you create other models, but when creating your first model, the original DeepRacer will suffice. So, to create a model, you go to Your Models. Here are all the previous models I have. I've saved at least. Then what you do is you go to Create Model. Now you have to specify the model name. I'll just call this one Test Model. You can add a description. And then you choose your environment simulation. So that's what track you want to train on. It's very important to choose a track that's suited for what you want your racer to be able to do. My team always selected the 2019 DeepRacer Championship Cup because we thought it was a fairly challenging track that would really test out whether or not our model was up to par. So after choosing the track, you can then choose a race type. Time trial is the easiest one because you don't have to worry about anything on the track and collisions. And then the training algorithm and hyperparameters. These are really important to the learning. If you've done any machine learning, you know that all of these can affect how the model learns and converges to optimal policy. So the learning rate affects how quickly the DeepRacer updates each cycle. The entropy is the amount of randomness in the action space that the DeepRacer chooses. The discount factor is how far ahead the racer looks when looking for rewards. Right, and now we choose our agent. I'm going to choose the continuous Bing racer because it has a pretty high top speed, and I'll just show how we can use that in our reward function. All right, so here's the basic reward function that's given. AWS has a few examples of reward functions. It's just staying inside the borders, preventing zigzag, and then the object. They have an object avoidance one as well. But I'm just going to give a quick example of some things you can do. So right here, we want our model to complete laps quickly. So we want it to keep a high speed. So what we can do is we can get the speed parameter and then give the model a reward if it's high. So we'll do if speed greater than 2, speed reward equals, let's say 1.0. So having these different rewards can be kind of tricky because the model does not always converge, but we've found that adding them at the end is a lot better than doing anything else like multiplying or even like just trying to reset the reward. So just making sure that you're at the end when you return the reward, you add up all your different rewards. Other parameters that can be used are things like steering angle, so checking what angle the wheels are at currently. Then there's also all wheels on track. That checks all the wheels on the track. But for now, this is all we're going to train with. And you'll be able to see how that affects the model during training. So now we can validate our reward function. It failed validation. It looks like this is not the name of the steering angle parameter. And there it is. So now that our reward function has passed validation, we can set the stop conditions. So do 90 seconds, so it'll train for 1 hour and 90 minutes. And we can choose to submit it to the DeepRacer League. If you'll see here, the model training is about $3.50 per hour, and model storage is 2 cents per gigabyte per month, which really is not too bad. And the free 10 hours that you get for a new user is more than enough to really create at least 2 or 3 models and test them out. So I'm not going to submit this to the DeepRacer League because this is a pretty basic model and will most likely not do well, but let's create the model and see how it trains. It takes a little while to initialize the training, but we'll skip that part. So here's our model during training. As you can see, it's not very good at the moment, but that's to be expected. You probably won't be seeing very good results until at least 20 to 30 minutes into the training. Just a couple things about training. This graph is very useful for testing the model and seeing how much it's improving. So the green line is the average reward that the model earns during evaluation, or during training actually. The blue line is average percentage of track completed during training. So right now it's about 8%, maybe a little lower. And then the red line is the average percentage of track completed during evaluation. And evaluation just starts the racer at the beginning of the track and sees how far it can get to, whereas training will move the racer to different points around the track and starting it from each of them. Here you can see how much of the maximum time has been used. And once your model's done, you can then move on to an evaluation, which just tests if your racer can complete 5 laps on a track of your choice. So that's pretty much the tutorial. I hope you guys enjoy if you decide to get started with DeepRacer and AWS. It's a really cool project to do. It's a lot of fun, and it's just really nice to see good results. Thank you.